Hey there, welcome back to Rerum Cognitio Channel. Today's topic is a real mind bender, the psychology of manipulation. Now, I know what you're thinking about manipulation. That's a bit intense, isn't it? Well, buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey into the depths of the human mind, where subtle influences and psychological maneuvers shape our decisions more than we might realize. But before you hit that back button, thinking this is just another dark and gloomy exploration, let me assure you, understanding the psychology of manipulation is not about turning us all into paranoid conspiracy theorists. It's about equipping ourselves with the knowledge to navigate a world where influences, both subtle and overt, surround us every day. Now, have you ever wondered why you sometimes make decisions that, in hindsight, leave you scratching your head? Or why do certain messages seem to stick with you long after you've seen or heard them? That's the influence of manipulation, a force that shapes our thoughts, behaviors, and even the choices we make. Today, we're not just going to scratch the surface. We're going to dive deep into the psychological mechanisms that make manipulation possible. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be armed with insights that can help you navigate the subtle art of influence in your own life. So, whether you're here because you're curious about the workings of the human mind, you want to become a Jedi Master at recognizing manipulation, or you just stumbled upon this video randomly, you're in for a treat. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments why you're interested in the psychology of manipulation. Let's build a community of critical thinkers who are ready to unravel the mysteries of the mind together. Alright, are you ready? Let's dive into the intriguing world of the psychology of manipulation. Alright team, let's kick things off by getting on the same page about what we mean when we say a manipulation. It's a term that often carries a negative connotation, but in the realm of psychology, it's more nuanced than it might seem. At its core, manipulation is the art of influencing or controlling others in a way that serves the manipulator's interests. Now, don't panic, not all manipulation is evil. Some forms are part of everyday communication. Think about advertising, or even your friend convincing you to try that new restaurant. That's manipulation too, but it doesn't always have a sinister motive. On one side, you've got positive manipulation, the kind that motivates you to strive for self-improvement, like a coach pushing you to do your best. On the other side though, there's the darker side, manipulative tactics aimed at controlling or deceiving, often at the expense of someone else's well-being. Now, let me throw a curveball at you. What if I told you that even your favorite superhero uses manipulation? Batman, for example, is a master tactician and manipulator. He uses his wit to outsmart villains and, in a way, manipulate situations to achieve justice. It just goes to show that manipulation is a tool and its morality depends on the intention behind it. Whether it's for good or ill, understanding manipulation is like having a decoder ring for the complex dance of human interaction. It's about decoding the subtle cues, words, and tactics that people use to influence one another. So, in a nutshell, manipulation is the strategic use of influence or control, whether it's to bring about positive change, like inspiring you to chase your dreams, or, unfortunately, to manipulate you for someone else's gain. Got it? Great! Now that we're crystal clear on what we're dealing with, let's unravel the layers of the psychology of manipulation and see how it shapes our everyday lives. Now, let's dive deep into the fascinating world of how our minds become the playground for manipulation. It's like stepping into the Matrix, but instead of dodging bullets, we're navigating the twists and turns of cognitive biases. At the heart of manipulation lies an understanding of cognitive biases, those quirks and shortcuts our brains take to process information. Think of them as the glitches in our mental software that manipulators exploit to influence our thoughts and actions. First up, we've got the confirmation bias. This one's a heavyweight. We tend to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs. Ever find yourself scrolling through news that aligns with what you already think? That's confirmation bias at play. Manipulators love this because it makes their job easier, feeding us information that reinforces what we already believe. Imagine your brain as a detective, but instead of seeking the truth, it's more interested in proving itself right. Sneaky, right? Next on the list is the anchoring effect. Picture this, you're negotiating the price of a car and the seller throws out a ridiculously high number. Suddenly, the more reasonable price they offer next seems like a steal. That's the anchoring effect in action. Our brains latch onto the first piece of information we receive and use it as a reference point. Manipulators drop their anchors strategically, aiming to sway our judgments and decisions by introducing that initial point of reference. It's like setting the stage for a mental performance. Now, let's talk about social proof. We're social creatures, and often we look to others to guide our decisions. If everyone's doing it, it must be right. Manipulators leverage this by creating the illusion of consensus to influence our behavior. Think of it as the everyone's doing it phenomenon, whether it's product endorsements, online reviews, or the classic laugh track in sitcoms. Social proof shapes our choices more than we realize. So, to sum it up, confirmation bias makes us seek information that confirms our beliefs. The anchoring effect influences our judgments based on initial information, and social proof nudges us to follow the crowd. These biases are like the puppet strings that manipulators pull, but fear not. Armed with awareness, we can cut those strings and take back control. In the next segment, we'll explore the techniques manipulators use to pull these strings and how we can resist their puppetry. We've just explored the fascinating world of cognitive biases, those little glitches in our minds that manipulators exploit. Now, let's roll up our sleeves and uncover the techniques they use to influence us. It's like learning the magician's secrets, but instead of pulling rabbits out of hats, they're messing with our thoughts and decisions. First on our list is a classic, gaslighting. It's like psychological Jenga, slowly pulling out the pieces of your reality until you doubt your own perceptions. Manipulators use gaslighting to sow seeds of confusion, making their targets question their memories, feelings, and even their sanity. Have you ever found yourself thinking, did that really happen the way I remember it? That's the lingering effect of gaslighting. Next up, we have fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Imagine standing at a crossroads and suddenly a thick fog rolls in. You can't see clearly, you're unsure of your path, and fear creeps in. Manipulators thrive on creating FUD to make us pliable and more receptive to their influence. Whether it's in politics, advertising, or personal relationships, injecting fear and uncertainty can be a powerful tool to manipulate our decisions. Now, let's talk about love bombing. This one's a bit like being showered with affection, compliments, gifts, and attention. It feels great initially, but manipulators use this as a tactic to overwhelm and gain control. It's like being love-struck, but in a not-so-romantic way. Have you ever had someone come into your life seemingly out of nowhere, showering you with praise and attention? While it may seem genuine, it's essential to be aware of when it crosses the line into manipulation. So, to recap, we've explored gaslighting, the art of creating doubt and confusion, fear, uncertainty, and doubt forward, which thrives on creating a fog of confusion, and love bombing, a tactic that overwhelms with affection. Now, it's crucial to recognize these techniques because awareness is our shield against manipulation. In the next segment, we'll discuss practical strategies to protect ourselves and maintain our mental fortitude in the face of manipulation. Now that we've uncovered the sneaky techniques manipulators use, it's time to talk about how we can protect ourselves from their influence. Think of this as our superhero training, equipping ourselves with the tools and strategies to resist manipulation and maintain our mental integrity. First and foremost, let's sharpen our critical thinking skills. The ability to question information, assess motives, and evaluate evidence is our superhero cape. When faced with persuasive messages, ask yourself, what's the agenda here? Is the information reliable, or is there a hidden agenda behind it? Critical thinking is like having X-ray vision for discerning the truth from manipulation. Stay curious and dig deeper. Next on our toolkit is awareness. Pay attention to your emotional responses and gut feelings. If something doesn't sit right, acknowledge it. Manipulators often exploit our emotions, so being aware of how we feel in different situations is a powerful defense mechanism. Have you ever had that feeling in your gut that something's off? Trust that instinct. It's your internal alarm system. Now, let's talk about setting boundaries. Knowing your limits and assertively communicating them is like having an impenetrable force field. It's okay to say no and establish boundaries to protect your well-being, whether it's in personal relationships, at work, or online. Setting clear boundary signals to manipulators that you're not an easy target. So to shield ourselves from manipulation, we've got critical thinking, our superhero cape, awareness, our internal alarm system, and setting boundaries, our impenetrable force field. Armed with these strategies, we become the guardians of our own minds. But hey, this isn't just about self-defense. It's about creating a community of critical thinkers who uplift and support one another. As we conclude today's exploration into the psychology of manipulation, it's crucial to be vigilant, understand our own cognitive biases, and cultivate a healthy skepticism. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and hit the notification bell to stay in the loop. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, keep healthy, and keep inspired.